Don't you... Don't you just want to at least hold it?
No.
Come on, just hold it a little bit.
No.
Can you at least touch it? It's so thin, it's so
No,
light.
I don't want to.
Just try to bend it, okay? It's so strong.
You have been stopped.
We removed the 5th microphone. That makes it harder to snap in half.
No.
Why not? Before questioning the authority and goodness of the exterior, one must first look within. Are you talking about software? Because we can add a calculator app. It's not ready yet. We need iPadOS 18, but it's coming. I know, in the past there's been spec bumps with the iPad Pro that I've kind of skipped over, but this is the first time Apple has actually done like a genuine redesign with the thinner iPads, the new Apple Pencil Pro, and the aluminum keyboard case that I didn't actually run out to buy one or test one, even just for review purposes. You know, I know everybody's already aware that the iPad's not really a great fit for me for personal uses, but even from a YouTube content production standpoint, I kind of got tired of talking about the iPad's hardware, software dilemma even before the iPad Pros even came out, and I started realizing I don't want to go through this whole review process again. First of all, I know a bunch of you are probably going to ridicule me for saying, oh, Drew's not going to keep it anyway. So when I review things that I don't intend on keeping, I get a lot of backlash for that. But also, as the main core issue with the iPad is not addressed, a lot of people complain that, oh, well, we already know what Drew's going to say. I saved you the 10 minutes by just summarizing that the iPad doesn't run macOS. There you go. That's what his endpoint is going to be. And I've also gone down the rabbit trail so many times over the years where I prove that yes, you can technically film an entire video on an iPad, or you could edit a whole video on an iPad. I edited one of my videos long before I started recording all of them on an iPhone, back when I still used my big old Blackmagic cinema camera recording in ProRes. I was able to edit a whole video on my A12X iPad Pro from 2018. And once again, the whole message at the end of the day is yes, you can do it, but it's just so much worse and so much harder than doing it on a Mac, and in my opinion, it shouldn't be, because especially now, the iPad has incredible hardware, and it always has, to be honest. It always had something going for it over the Mac, and now it's really not that different from before. The iPad hardware team continues to show off and flex what Apple's silicon and engineering muscles are capable of, while iPadOS is fundamentally trying to say, yeah, but don't expect it to do much more than, you know, stylus features, which are cool, and I love seeing what other content creators are discovering about the iPad, but I also got to admit there's a little bit of content saturation, don't you think? So many YouTubers, so many channels all talking about the same Apple product all at the same time. I ultimately just felt like a lot of the criticisms towards my perspective and channel were somewhat valid. Yeah, you could save a lot of time just by going back and watching my previous complaints about the software identity crisis of the iPad, and I could go out, buy one, talk about, okay, yes, this is thinner, yes, the OLED display is brighter than before, but it's still not going to be as bright as my iPhone. Like, I know what a brighter screen looks like, and to a certain extent, I also just kind of don't want to reward Apple with, like, my time or with a review, because people are going to expect in a review for there to be lots of positive things where you boast about how much cooler the technology is now that it's a little bit thinner. But I have to admit, impressive engineering as it is, I'm mostly upset by the almost intentional discompatibility of the Apple Pencil 2 no longer working with the new iPad, and also making sure that the new Apple Pencil Pro does not work with older iPads. I still feel like that was an unnecessary change on Apple's part, and if there was a way for them to keep that compatibility between generations and also keep the thickness of the iPad the same, I think a lot of people would have preferred that, honestly. And I also think if the M4 chip is so much more efficient, extending the length of the battery life, maybe once in the iPad's history, also would have been somewhat appreciated, and I feel like I don't have to go buy one and unbox one like every other YouTube channel is already doing in order to tell you how I feel about certain things like that. So if you're wondering why I'm not going to be covering it in person or not unboxing it and reviewing it on this channel, it's because I feel like there's nothing really more to be said about the iPad. I'm not super passionate about the few hardware changes that we did get, and ultimately, because I think the iPad has always been a a software crisis and not so much a hardware one, then there's probably no point in checking one out unless maybe iPadOS 18 has some tricks up its sleeve, and then maybe it'd be worth discussing over again. But if it's just going to continue to be, oh yeah, keep using the apps you've already used before, just on a slightly faster, slightly thinner iPad now, no, we've gone down this train before, guys, and I don't want to have to repeat myself over and over again. You know how I feel, I know how y'all feel, and at the end of the day, I accept that the iPad is a perfectly great tool for a lot of people out there who use it for media consumption and note-taking and drawing, and some people just like the overall form factor better than a Mac, and I'm happy for you if you do. But my argument against that is it's always been good at that. It's been fine at watching content, note-taking, and drawing. It's been fine at that for years, and every year it just gets a little bit better at doing the exact same things, rather than open up more use cases and more functionality that we know it's capable of, but we're choosing to software lock out of it for the sake of, well, it's an iPad, don't expect it to do more than that. I'm sick of that argument, but if that argument works for you, I hope y'all enjoy the new tablets that Apple came out with. I hope that they bring you years and years of fun, and I really hope that they can be more than just a Netflix machine. I'm thankful they doubled up on the storage, but yeah, I'm gonna have to pass on this one and wait for more products to come out in the future that I feel like I have a little bit more to say and a little bit more to add to kind of the conversation that the internet is partaking in. What do you guys think? Am I wrong? Should I be reviewing the new iPads to generate more traffic for my channel? Or you kind of see where I'm getting at here about the, like, boy who cried Mac OS over and over? Feel free to drop your thoughts down in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. It helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you all in the next one.